All right, welcome back, everybody. Anybody that's new here, thanks for joining me today. Today is going to be an information overload for those of you guys that actually like to fish for panfish. That's bluegills, crappie, perch. All of those in the northern states. This is going to pertain more to anybody in the ice belt or where it actually gets cold. Down into like the 30s and 40s would still count. But if you think cold, you Texas guys and stuff like that, if you think cold is like 45 degrees, I don't know if this would necessarily count. They might do the same thing. I don't know. Something else I got to learn about fishing around the United States. But to keep it short and simple, as an explanation, I'm going to basically go through, like I said, perch, crappie, bluegills. It's going to be like an overall, but the big thing here I want everybody to take away is if you guys actually pay attention to everything in this video, like all of the information I give you, you're going to know something that I've noticed that almost nobody out there has put out there. And I mean like Infishman, all those, like none of the big companies or big outdoors brands have ever really talked about this. I think I heard about it back a long time ago at one point, but it was really never brought to attention because it's such a short period of time. But if you guys capitalize on this, you'll thank me later. Okay, so one of the things I want to do here is I put out a video. Well, it was not really a video, it was a live stream. So if you guys go back, I put it in my playlist, but if you just go through my live streams, you'll see it. It's the last one I did. I put out a video saying that you could ask me anything about anything that I really do. I want to try and stay on topics that I actually know more about than things that like I could hypothesize about. Like, I don't want to guess and make it sound like I'm a dummy. I'm still learning. Like, you guys got to understand, every time I go fishing, I'm learning. That's why I do this. But one of the things I want you guys to do is, if you haven't yet, if you see this, first, if you're a new subscriber, subscribe if you like outdoors content and fishing. I mainly do fishing, a lot of fishing. But that's so right now I'm just hard up for money and I don't have very many options other than to go fishing, and a lot of it's been as cheap as possible this year. Those of you that are subscribed, that's why I've been river fishing so much. It costs a ton of money to take a boat and run around the state and fish. Like, it's not cheap. You got to fill your truck, you got to fill your boat, you got to run around, you got to charge batteries, you got to buy equipment, things break, all that fun stuff. Anyways, this is about fall fishing for panfish. And the thing is I was going to break it up into like bluegills, perch, and crappie, but I'm going to kind of do an overview of all three. That way you guys can kind of decide which you guys want to pay more attention to. I will break down all three in this video just in case you guys are new here. Normally I do like one subject, and like I was saying before, if you guys want to, comment below any other information of detail that you guys might want to do. If I should take bluegill, crappie, perch, and break them up into separate videos, so that way you guys have like a specific video to watch on. The problem with that, well, there's not really a problem. Comment below if you guys want me to do that, and I will do that too. But this is just basically fall panfish movements, and we'll go with tactics. We'll start with like simple stuff. I don't want to make this too complicated. This is for like if you're new. I would love to make it so that like you get a chance to fish when most people don't fish. A lot of times people avoid fishing anywhere because it's super busy because of the summer. Everybody and their mother's out fishing. But when it starts to cool down, that's the thing that I like most about it, is like, by telling you this, you're going to be seeing more people out there probably, but realistically, it's going to be substantially less than like in June or August. Like, you won't see very many people out there when it's 40 degrees outside because most people just don't like the cold. So if you're one of those people, you're going to miss out because you don't like the cold. But for those people that actually want to get out and get into some decent panfish, so everybody knows about like the spring, and that's the weirdest thing. I've always I kind of learned all this stuff a long time ago, and like I've been trying to explain to some of my subscribers, like when I try to talk through things while I'm on the water, it's really hard because without specific questions, that's what that other video is for. So the live stream, I'm going to say this again and again and again, I'll put it at the end of this video so that when you guys get to the very end of the video, you guys can watch the live stream and kind of get an understanding of what I'm like asking for. But as far as the live stream and commenting below it, ask questions with more specifics in mind. So like panfish is a group, perch is a single, crappie's a single, bluegill's a single. And I know a lot about panfish. I mean, any of you guys that have been subscribed, I mean, this year I crushed my biggest bluegill ever, and that was by dedication to following what I know. And that's what I'm trying to tell you guys, is like, this is going to be me trying to break down stuff without having a specific goal in mind. And I don't want to ramble anymore, so we're just going to go with as simple as this. When the water temps start going down into the 50s, and actually it starts as soon as it gets back into the 60s. So the biggest thing is this. So in the northern states where there's an ice belt, you get water temps that obviously they plummet and then it freezes, right? Science 101. As the water temps come back down, if you say you had a hot summer and your water temps are at 80, when they go to 70, sometimes fish shut off. And that's like, people think that there's no more fishing after that because the fish shut down because the water temps have dropped. Or even more so, when they get into the 60s, people have a hard time finding fish. They think they shut off. They're done. They're not feeding. It's getting cold. Whatever people's excuses are. But when it keeps going down, so like, let's start at 60. So when the 60s happen, do yourself a favor. If you know anything about the bodies of water, rivers, whatever, from fishing in the spring, when the waters hit 60s, so like bluegill spawn at 60, like 67, 72, like in that range. If you know where they were then, before they spawned, you know where they are now in the fall. And it's that simple. Like, that's why I was going to do maps and stuff like that, but really this is all based on your own bodies of water. So if you've ever fished the spring, pay attention, make notes. Maybe if you have GPS or something like that, put waypoints where you see congregations of fish before they spawn. Because obviously when they spawn, they go up shallow and it's really easy to find them. Anybody can do that. But the coolest thing about panfish is this. What is it? It's perch, crappie, then bluegill. So perch spawn, crappie spawn, bluegill spawn. In that order in the spring. So it's a reverse of that in the fall. Okay, so like I was saying, it's a reverse of that in the fall. Putting it together in the simplest way possible, your first fish that are going to come in are going to be the bluegills, because those are the first fish that came in the spring, or the last fish to come in, last panfish to come in the spring. So like, sometimes they spawn, so sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll find a second spawn. That's a thing. I would have to go into a whole detail on bluegills. Comment below if you guys want me to break down bluegills, like, actually, like, 100%. It wouldn't be bluegills 101. This would be like bluegills 1001. This would be like, all right, I already know everything there is to know about bluegills. What else can I learn? I'll do a video on that. But back to the topic. The simplest way to put it is, like I said, it's in reverse. So the last to come out in the spring are the first to come in this fall. And the biggest thing here is they will do the same thing they do in the spring and search for that warmest water. Now, I'm not going to go into details about that, but you get the drift. You find them at like a weed edge or a break line early, like late September or whatever. A lot of people think they're already out in their winter spots, and that's like where they all stay. Not necessarily. And this is the secret that nobody, I don't know, maybe people didn't want to talk about it because it's, already fish are already getting pounded down deep water. But needless to say, at the end of like where they're moving in, so like 67 degrees, 70 degrees, as it's coming back down, start looking for your panfish out deep, but look for those ones that are moving shallow. Those could be the biggest panfish you see all year. Okay, so then as you go back down, when you're in like your mid 60s, between 60 and 65, that's when crappie usually spawn in the spring. Same thing in the fall. So you already had the bluegills come push in. Now the crappie are in there. Now, depending on how fast the water drops in temperature and how much it fluctuates up and down, crappie are finicky little buggers. So like, if the water drops to 55 from 65 in a week's time, those crappie are out in the basins. They're ready for winter. Like, you already missed your chance. But If you get a steady weather pattern, then you get a chance to chase them around. They'll be in the weeds. They'll come up shallow. Sometimes you get really lucky and you literally hit them weed line or like break line before the weed line, tops of weeds, up shallow. You can do that with crappie in the fall. It's really cool. Now, perch will sometimes follow the crappie in. So you'll get like the same influx around that same temperature range between like 55 and like 62, 65, whatever. But below 55, till there's ice, perch will push up extremely shallow. I would have to go into detail what turnover means, but if you know what turnover means, after the turnover, that's when all the water becomes the same temperature. There's no thermocline, there's no, the water at the top is 45 degrees, the bottom of the water is 45 degrees, top to bottom, same temperature. When that happens, everything can go anywhere. I mean, fish can go anywhere they want, anytime they want. But to keep this as simple as possible, when the water gets cold, the perch comes shallow. So that's a whole nother ball game of like, now you can try fishing for perch, crappie, and bluegill. And the thing is it's not like the spring. So like, in the sense that the bluegill don't go anywhere when the crappie come in. And the crappie don't necessarily go anywhere if the water's stable and like slowly dropping in temperature. They only just skedaddle back out to the deep water when it's actually like plummeting. So like if you get 2 weeks where the week before it was like 70, but now the next 2 weeks is in the 40s, those crappie are going to be really hard to find. They might even be schooled up just outside a break line or something like that, but I'll get into more transient stuff if you guys comment below what you guys want me to go into details on. Maybe breaking down each species, more so like what they're going to be doing. Right now I'm going to be doing a lot of fall stuff, so pick your poison. Like, what do you want? Do you want crappie fall, this fall, that? But one more tip that I'm going to try to do here, and it's really simple. When perch move in, do yourself a huge favor. Because the big thing is perch and crappie will be in similar locations. So like say you're fishing a weed line, just for like an oddball like tip here. When you're fishing a weed line, if you happen to have a mud line that runs into a sand line, say weeds, mud, sand, or rock, gravel, this line will literally have perch sitting on it with a weed line, and then the weeds will literally have crappie on it. So bring crappie minnows and fish both of those at the same time, or even fish over the side of the boat on the one and cast to the other if you can do that. Okay, so my brain's gonna explode. That was as simple as I could make it. I did it in pretty much one take. You guys asked for something as far as like patterns, and that's what I was trying to say. You have to ask specific questions. That is like the most vague, but it will tell you guys. So any of you guys that ice fish, which I know a lot of you guys that watch my channel basically only watch it for the ice fishing, which I wish you guys would watch more of my summer content. It would make life a lot easier. I struggle all the way through summer because you wait till November, December to start watching my videos by the thousands. I have 10,000 subscribers almost, and I get a couple hundred views here and there all summer long, and it's really hard to do this full time. So with that, I hope this one really kind of opens your eyes to the idea of like, just because it's cold out doesn't mean the fish are done biting. In fact, all fish that I know about go on a feeding binge all the way till there's ice, and first ice until about midwinter. A lot of people, even in the South, will call midwinter blues, like late December through January, maybe beginning of February, because that's the coldest time and that's when everything really slows down. But that first ice and right before first ice period can be crazy. So hopefully this inspires some of you guys to get out and try some new things. Don't be afraid to throw plastics. They still work. A lot of times I switch over some of my ice stuff onto my long rods, and I'll use that like all the way up to the ice season, because obviously first ice, if you're using it through first ice, why wouldn't it work 2 weeks before that when the water was just a little bit warmer? So keep that in mind. hopefully this one helps you guys out. Hopefully anybody you guys new here, you guys consider subscribing. Make sure you turn on the bells and everything like that to make sure that you get all the content, or stop back often. Anybody that's not new here, check the community tab on the Facebook, or my Facebook, on my page, or my channel, so that you guys get a chance to keep up with some of the things I talk about. The giveaway is going to be coming up soon here. 10,000 subs is coming along. Thank you, anybody that's new here. Share with friends and family that you think might like outdoors content and wants to see some more of this stuff that I put out. Looking forward to giving away a bunch of stuff to somebody. It's been a long time. It's been like 3 years, 4 years. I've been wanting to give away this thing. Who knew it was that hard to give this big a thing away? If you need to, I have a whole playlist on giveaways. Go check that out if you're new here. Otherwise, hopefully you guys all learned something today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Obviously, if you're not new here, you know what's up. But if you are new, could you please just remember to